In our interconnected world, the safe transportation of hazardous materials is paramount. These materials are integral to many aspects of modern life, from the fuel that powers our vehicles to the chemicals used in manufacturing and agriculture. These materials, often essential for various industries, pose significant risks if not handled and transported with the utmost care. Proper training, stringent regulations, and advanced safety protocols are crucial to prevent accidents and ensure the safety of both people and the environment. From the fuel that powers our vehicles to the chemicals that drive industrial processes, hazardous materials are ubiquitous. They are transported daily across vast distances, making their safe transit a complex and critical task. Their safe transit is vital to our collective well-being and economic prosperity. Ensuring that these materials reach their destinations without incident requires a coordinated effort from all stakeholders, including manufacturers, transporters, and regulatory bodies. By prioritizing safety, we can protect lives, preserve the environment, and maintain the smooth functioning of our industries. Failing to adhere to stringent safety protocols can have dire consequences. Accidents involving hazardous materials can lead to loss of life, environmental damage, and widespread disruption. The 1984 Bhopal disaster, where a gas leak from a pesticide plant in India killed thousands, serves as a stark reminder of the potential devastation. This guide provides a comprehensive overview of the meticulous process involved in preparing and labeling hazardous materials for transportation. Whether you're a seasoned professional in the logistics industry or simply seeking to enhance your understanding of this critical process, this information is relevant. We will delve into the intricate regulations governing hazardous materials transportation, emphasizing the importance of meticulous labeling and safe handling practices. By adhering to these guidelines, we contribute to a safer world for all. Before delving into the intricacies of transportation, it is crucial to establish a clear understanding of what constitutes a hazardous material. Defined by the United States Department of Transportation, hazardous materials or dangerous goods encompass substances that pose a potential risk to human health, safety, or the environment during transportation. The DOT has meticulously categorized hazardous materials based on their inherent properties and the nature of the risks they present. This classification system is codified in the Code of Federal Regulations, specifically under Title 49, Part 173. Understanding these classifications is paramount for ensuring compliance with regulations and upholding safety protocols. Each class of hazardous material is represented by a distinct placard and possesses unique handling and labeling requirements. For instance, flammable liquids fall under Class 3 and necessitate specific packaging and labeling to mitigate fire hazards. Similarly, corrosive materials categorized as Class 8 demand specialized containers and labels to prevent chemical burns and environmental damage. By adhering to these classifications and their corresponding regulations, we establish a standardized framework for the safe handling and transportation of hazardous materials. This system enables all stakeholders, from manufacturers to transporters to emergency responders, to readily identify the potential hazards associated with each substance and take appropriate precautions. Section 1. Delving deeper into hazardous materials classifications. The classification of hazardous materials and the associated regulations have real-world implications that extend far beyond the transportation industry. These regulations impact various sectors, including manufacturing, agriculture, and even our daily lives at home. For instance, understanding the hazards associated with common household products, such as cleaning agents, is essential for ensuring the safety of our homes and families. Paints and pesticides, which are frequently used in home improvement and gardening, also pose significant risks if not handled properly. Proper storage and disposal of these materials are crucial to prevent accidental poisoning, environmental contamination, and potential fires. Many of these products fall under the classification of hazardous materials and require careful handling to prevent accidents. Emergency responders and workers in various industries undergo rigorous training to manage these substances safely, highlighting the importance of awareness and education in mitigating risks associated with hazardous materials. Labeling a universal language of safety. Hazardous materials labels are not merely decorative elements haphazardly affixed to containers. They serve as information powerhouses, conveying critical details about the substance within. These labels, often brightly colored and prominently displayed, adhere to strict international standards, ensuring consistency and clarity in the information presented. The consequences of improper labeling of hazardous materials can be dire, ranging from regulatory fines and legal repercussions to environmental damage and, in the worst-case scenario, loss of life. A mislabeled container can lead to mishandling, improper storage, and, in the event of an accident, an inadequate emergency response. To prevent such incidents, it is crucial to adhere to best practices for hazardous materials labeling. These practices include using durable, weather-resistant labels that can withstand the rigors of transportation, ensuring that the labels are securely affixed to the containers, and verifying that the information on the labels is accurate and up to date. Section 1. Essential components of a hazardous material label. Creating compliant hazardous material labels is a meticulous process that demands attention to detail and adherence to strict regulations. The first step is to accurately identify the hazardous material using its UN number and proper shipping name, consulting reliable sources such as the DOT's Emergency Response Guidebook, or ERG, or the manufacturer's Safety Data Sheet, or SDS. Affixing hazardous material labels to containers is not a haphazard process. It requires adherence to specific techniques to ensure their durability, legibility, and resistance to the elements. The labels must be securely attached to a clean, dry surface of the container, free from any protrusions or irregularities that could compromise their integrity. Transporting hazardous materials is a meticulous process that demands careful planning and preparation. Before embarking on this endeavor, it's crucial to assemble all the necessary supplies to ensure the safety of both the personnel involved and the surrounding environment. When handling hazardous materials, personal protective equipment, or PPE, is non-negotiable, serving as the last line of defense between individuals and potential harm. The type of PPE required varies depending on the specific hazards posed by the materials being handled. Transporting hazardous materials is not a task to be undertaken lightly. It requires meticulous planning, precise execution, and a deep understanding of the regulations that govern every aspect of the process. From the moment hazardous materials are packaged, to their transportation, and finally to their storage, every step is scrutinized to ensure compliance with stringent safety standards. It's a highly regulated domain governed by a complex web of national and international regulations designed to protect human health, safety, and the environment. These regulations are constantly evolving, reflecting new scientific knowledge and technological advancements. Companies must stay updated and adapt to these changes to avoid penalties and ensure the safety of their operations. In the United States, the primary regulatory body for hazardous materials transportation is the Department of Transportation, which plays a crucial role in setting and enforcing these regulations. Specifically, its Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration, or PHMSA, is tasked with overseeing the safe and secure movement of hazardous materials. PHMSA conducts regular inspections, provides guidance and enforces compliance to ensure that all entities involved in the transportation of hazardous materials adhere to the highest safety standards. In our increasingly interconnected world, the transportation of hazardous materials often transcends national borders, necessitating a globally harmonized approach to safety regulations. Recognizing this need, international organizations have developed standardized systems for classifying, packaging, labeling, and transporting dangerous goods, fostering consistency and reducing the risk of incidents during international shipments. Before embarking on the transportation of hazardous materials, a thorough risk assessment is paramount, akin to charting a course through potentially treacherous waters. This proactive approach involves systematically identifying potential hazards throughout the supply chain, from the point of origin to the final destination, and evaluating the likelihood and potential severity of incidents. Once potential hazards have been identified through a comprehensive risk assessment, the next crucial step is to develop and implement robust mitigation strategies to minimize the likelihood and severity of incidents. This proactive approach involves a multifaceted approach, addressing both inherent risks associated with the hazardous materials themselves and external factors that could exacerbate an incident. In the realm of hazardous materials transportation, knowledge is power, and training is the key to unlocking that power. Equipping personnel with the essential knowledge and skills to handle these materials safely is not merely a regulatory requirement. It's an ethical imperative, safeguarding lives, protecting the environment, and ensuring the continuity of operations. Training, while essential, is not a one-time event. It's an ongoing process that must be integrated into the very fabric of an organization's culture. Fostering a culture of safety requires a top-down commitment, with management leading by example and emphasizing the importance of safe practices at every opportunity. As we've journeyed through the intricacies of preparing and labeling hazardous materials for transportation, one overarching theme emerges: the paramount importance of responsibility. These materials, while essential to our modern world, demand our utmost respect and vigilance in their handling. While the transportation of hazardous materials often falls under the purview of specialized industries, the responsibility for safety extends far beyond those directly involved in the process. As members of a global community, we all have a role to play in promoting safe and responsible hazardous materials management.